Tanglespark had their eyes fixed on the clan clearing. The clan was beginning to wake now, but she'd been awake for quite some time. Something had occupied her night. Now that the majority of the clan was awake, she got to her paws and exited the den, hoping they'd assume she just woke.
May all warriors old enough to swim the rapids gather by the wet rock for morning patrols, he called, his voice reaching through the camp and into the dens where most of the other warriors were still sleeping. The Tom scoffed. What a morning. His gaze drifted over the 3 warriors that had gathered.
She watched the groggy cat start to gather. Tanglespark seemed to be waiting for something. She shuffled on her paws anxiously.
Sunset, you lead the border patrol towards Sunning Rocks. Take Lemon Blaze and Darner Strike with you. He looked to the cats as he named them. He dismissed them with a nod before continuing. Sparrow Stream, you will lead a hunting patrol towards the Windclan border. Take Fallow Fern, Shade Whisper, Fog Patch, and Creek Paw with you.
Got it, he chirped, excited to finally lead a patrol.
The rest of you? The last thunderstorm has torn holes in most of the dens. Get your paws dirty and patch up the nursery and elder den, Crowmask ordered, tone not allowing any disobedience. If I see one more drop of water fall into the nursery, I will personally use your fur to patch the hole.
Repairing the nursery would be good, Tanglespark noted. Her eyes flicked over to the now leaving warriors.
He padded off, not glancing to Tanglespark even once.
Tanglespark didn't pay much mind to it. Crowmask was always cold, but he got the job done. She positioned herself next to the fresh kill pile, waiting for the patrol to return. Anxiety pulled at her pelt, causing her to rapidly clean her fur in an attempt at self-soothing. Crowmask, she said with a mouthful of stick. Nothing to report, she said, shuffling. All looks well at Sunning Rocks. ThunderClan scent is weak, she added.
Back from the patrol? He asked, looking to the cats, nodding. That's good. Scent markers strong from our side?
She nodded, looking up occasionally to make eye contact, but avoiding it. She nodded simply. The border patrol was back, somehow having missed her. She seemed oddly involved. They wanted to ask something, but maybe a different cat was better. One not so close to Crowmask. She nodded. Honeypaw, Creekpaw, she'd greet, eyes particularly fixed on Creekpaw. Creekpaw stands up, widening her eyes at the medicine cat. With her mentor currently out, she's busy napping the day away. A light purr rose from her throat, only to be disrupted by a voice. Huh? What's it now? Just saying hi. I had a question for Creekpaw. No need to disturb your rest. What can I help with? She says through the fish. Oh, alright. Just don't be too loud, alright? She turned, immediately more concerned with napping. Did the patrol find anything of interest? Tanglespark's tail twitched. She drops the fish. No, I don't think so. I kind of ran off. Don't tell the deputy. They're scary. That I agree with, she mumbled, trying to hide her disappointment. Alright, thank you then. No problem. Should I look for anything? The ears perked a bit. No, just keeping track of everything. I haven't had any caster trait for a while, so I'm keeping myself occupied. That's good, I guess, but no, I saw nothing. Tanglespark dismissed themselves with a nod, trying to seem inconspicuous while also ending the conversation. She shuffles a bit awkwardly. Well, have a nice day. Maybe they just missed it. Tanglespark looked down at her paws. She'd left them in a bush for the clan to find. Maybe they didn't find them since they smelt the River Clan and didn't stick out. Maybe the Sun High Patrol would find them. No, she couldn't wait. They must be hungry by now. She'd never forgive herself if something happened to them. Tanglespark stuck her nose into the bush, heart lurching when all she smelt was the foliage. Maybe she was wrong. Was this the wrong bush? Did they walk away? They weren't old enough to walk.
Looking for something? Kurmask's voice was unreadable as he stepped out of the shade. His steps were confident and his gaze piercing.
They couldn't walk far, anyway. Tanglespark swallowed dryly. She was visibly frightened, nearly jumping out of her fur. She steadied herself before replying. Juniper, I was checking if the berries had grown back after Leaf Bear.
He took note of her frazzled pelt and anxious expression, not to mention the fact she was trembling. Juniper, he repeated, almost mockingly.
Have you not seen it before? Her eyes followed the deputy as he walked. Her tone was steady now, but clearly her eyes were fear-stricken.
That's not what you were really here for, were you? I don't think you'll find what you're looking for, only what you deserve, he meowed, cryptically.
Tanglespark's fur fluffed up. What are you looking for? They piped defensively. Do your job and I'll do mine, she huffed, frustration hiding fear as she quickly trotted away.
That's my thought exactly, he grinned.
She didn't stop until she reached the ledge of her den, staring down into the water. Starkland, please protect them. They've done nothing wrong by being born. She tried to steady her breathing, but it was fruitless. She bent down and splashed water on her face. She stared at herself in the stream. They'd be found, right? Right. Robin held the kit gently, his eyes wide in shock. Pantsoon was tense and wide-eyed as she held the kit in her maw. She couldn't decipher any sense. Maybe the medicine cat would have better luck. Tanglespark felt a strike of excitement when she saw the patrol, only for it to quickly dwindle when she saw no movement. Ooh. Her pupils were narrowed to slits. What is this? We found them under the bridge. And the river. He gently placed down the kit to speak. Pantsoon stared at the small tom kit. He wasn't moving. At all. She frowned deeply. We don't even know where they came from. Who's... She trailed off. Tanglespark's eyes pinned to the wet bundles of fur. No. No. She slid down onto her paws. They didn't have any scent on them. He backed up. You found them like this? Her pupils were huge now. Pantsoon didn't blame Tanglespark for her reaction. She nodded. Under the bridge. Pantsoon followed Robin Purr and stepped back. Heather Sand gave a glance over to Pantsoon and Robin Purr, then back to the helpless medicine cat. She tried to hide her grief, but it was nearly impossible. Any cat would react this way, she told herself. She nosed them, as if trying to get the she-cat back onto her limp paws. She pressed her nose against her back. She was so cold. Should we leave you alone with the kits? He asked quietly. He didn't know how to comfort the medicine cat. Yes. Tanglespark took in a breath. I'll find out how they died. I'll tell Chromask when I'm done. He nodded understanding. Pantsoon glanced from Tanglespark to Robin Purr. Maybe they should have never brought them here. Poor Tanglespark. She parted her maw and dragged the two kits together, picking them both up by the scruff. Her own tears mixed with the kit's already wet fur. Hurt-filled eyes, with a hint of anger, tore through Chromask as she turned. As if perfectly fine, she put the kits down into the nest. Her eyes were horrified. She didn't put them anywhere near the stream where they were found. They weren't near any water they'd wander off to. Was this her fault? She lay down and cleaned their pelts one last time, drying them for burial. She stayed with them until dawn in her own silent vigil. Once she saw the first signs of daylight, she stood, padding over to her herbs. She carefully picked the best stalks of lavender, scattered petals, and forget-me-nots. She extremely carefully weaved the flowers into their now dried fur, lavender to cover the scent of death, and the rest to send them to StarClan with something to remember her by. She stared at them, as if trying to remember the intricacies of their pelts. She didn't want to forget.
He paid no attention to the medicine cat as he called for patrols. May all cats that are old enough to swim the rapids gather under the wet rock.
Chromesk. Tanglespark's grief muddied her judgment, though she was interrupted anyway. She swallowed, throat sore from silent sobs. Fine. She scooped both of them back up, patting past the entering warrior without much mind. With the last of her strength, she dug a small hole in the ground. She buried the two kits together. In the bush she failed to find them, they'd not rest forever. I'm so sorry, she said in no more than a whisper. I'm so sorry, she repeated. No StarClan, she'd say this in her mind forever. Tanglespark saw Chromesk leave as they walked in. Good. No judgment. And no one to get in her way. Tanglespark, you seem very upset about this situation. Two kits were brought into my den having drowned in our territory. If the circumstances had been different, a warrior would have saved them from the stream. She couldn't make eye contact. Yes, it's a very sad situation. But sadly, I don't know what we could have done more to help. It was too late. Something is wrong, Mudstar. Tanglespark finally looked up. She tried to find a way to explain this feeling. They were too young to wander that far. And what queen would leave them so close to the river that they would drown? Mudstar eyed Tanglespark up and down for a moment. Well, I can't say. A rogue might have been stupid, or maybe you think ThunderClan might have? She looked down at her paws again. She couldn't say anything. The truth would only exile herself. There would be no justice for her kits, and no chance of it. I'm just telling you something is off about this. This wasn't a freak accident. No, Why does this bother you so much? It's very tragic, but things like that happen. Tanglespark's ears perked. Mudstar, they're kits! Her fur rose slightly, as she forced it to flatten. Cats are to be protected. Some cat failed them. Tanglespark, you give them a nice burial. They laid them to rest, to go to StarClan. I don't know who did this, so I don't know how to give the justice you so badly want. Her pupils dilated. Mudstar was right. She couldn't prove anything. Mudstar scrunches her nose slightly. Tanglespark was really invested in this. I'll ask Chromesk to look further into this. We'll find out who did it. No, Tanglespark's ears perked. Not him. He doesn't care. Do you not trust your own deputy? The deputy I chose? He looked at the kits like they were an inconvenience. I don't want him involved. She turned away, tears welling in her eyes the moment Mudstar could no longer see their face. I can't believe those kits were just there, he'd sigh. Yeah, it's sad, but still, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, who would do that to kids? He'd blink back tears. You think someone did it? Tanglespark called from afar. Really, who would hurt kids in cold blood? She flinched, not noticing Tanglespark until they spoke. Oh, it's you. She breezed the scare off. He stand up in shock upon seeing Tanglespark. Kinda. She wasn't sure now. I'm so sorry. I thought you were... You'd stammer. It's okay. She planted her paws. I also think something was wrong about it. This isn't a freak accident. He looked down at his paws. I really hope it wasn't on purpose. Maybe they just got swept away. Yeah, maybe rogues or ThunderClan? She was thinking harder now. Kids should know to steer away from water. They didn't smell of clan cats, he'd choke out. The rogue could have washed the kits and left them. They were scentless. He shook as he recalled the moment he had scooped the kit from the river. Water would cover any scent. They could be any clan, and whoever killed them could be from RiverClan. She sat, defeated. We wouldn't know. His whiskers would droop at the thought of a RiverClan cat doing that to the poor kids. Her ears fell quick at the thought of their own clan hurting a kit. It was horrible. I hope it wasn't one of us, and I hope the mother of those kits are okay, he'd mumble, feeling the rain sink into his fur. The thought of someone here is... She stuttered again. Leave me to think. Tanglespark ushered them away. Thank you. Feel free to call one of us if you need anything, she mumbled. Okay. He scrambled out of the Medin quickly to let Tanglespark think. She scrambled out, following. She needed to know more. Tanglespark's eyes narrowed as she saw Crow Mask nearby. Fish in maw, she stalked forward to listen. I trust you to figure this out, Crow Mask. You're a smart and well-willed cat. I trust no one more.
He nodded his head as he listened. Of course, Mudstar. I will find out what happened. He spoke with confidence, though he didn't exactly look at his leader, rather off into the distance.
She tries to get eye contact. He must be as upset as they all were. Any leads so far? I've asked, but no one has seen or heard a thing.
My best guess is a ThunderClan cat or a rogue, but I'm sure you've thought of that as well. He sighed, feigning being deep in thought. Our borders are strong. I can make sure nobody has trespassed.
I wouldn't doubt you to keep the clan borders safe. She looks very directly into his eyes, hoping for him to look back into hers. If anyone can keep us safe, it's you.
Of course, he dipped his head. I will head to the border now, Crow Mask continued before standing and heading out of camp.
Her eyes followed him. Anxiety sliced through her as the deputy patted away. Would he find her scent? What if he... She shook her head. Better not to think about it. Instead, she'd see for herself what he was up to. Why was he going that way?
He opened his maw, taking in the scent. Tanglespark's scent was stale from where she had buried the kits here. How poetic of her to do that, wasn't it? He glanced at the fresh dirt.
Heavy on her paws, she crept forward. What are you doing?
He huffed, not seeming surprised that she was there. You stalk like a mouse with all its legs missing. Cromask laughed joylessly.
How do you know they were buried here? Tanglespark didn't budge.
Your scent is covering this bush, Cromask noted. Bury them where they were marked for death, huh? His claws dragged over the stone with a scrape. Always planned for it to happen, didn't you?
Plant? Tanglespark's claws sank into the ground. Why are you here? Just to upset me.
You abandoned them to die, all by themselves. Scared. Alone. He began circling her slowly. You wanted to rid yourself of them, and now that it's done, you pretend to grieve?
Tanglespark choked on their words as they tried to speak, but it was for the better. They shouldn't confess, not to him. You're just trying to justify what you've done, acting like it was right. She hissed through her teeth.
What have I done? He purred, which grew into a growl as his flank pressed against hers. Have I abandoned my code-breaking children to die?
Nearly falling over, Tanglespark pulled away harshly with a snarl. You're sick.
StarClan will not be denied, he spoke with an almost eerie finality. And if it is I who has to carry out their laws, so be it. His grin was akin to bared teeth.
She didn't even know what to say. Nothing seemed right. She felt like her mouth was tied shut with a reed. Looking at him with hatred, fury pulsed through her body as she ran. Tanglespark could tell in the way Mudstar looked at him that Chromask wouldn't be suspected of any wrongdoing. But there he was, confessing murder to a medicine cat. She sank her claws into the mossy ground. Chromask was a threat, not just to her, but if he meant what he said, other cats were in danger too. Robinpur looked for Tanglespark. His dreams had been haunted by the memory of the kits in the river. He needed someone to talk to. Tanglespark? You're awake? He mewed. Tanglespark's eyes widened, as if pulled out of a cold stream she'd been drowning in. Oh, Robinpur. Are you alright? He started. I've just been thinking of the kits and you. She gestured towards the far edge of the den. She stared at herself in the water. Chromask killed them. Her tone was less than a whisper. Robinpur's jaw would drop. How are you sure? He turned to her, unsure if she was telling the truth. You can smell him on my pelt. She winced, her eyes nearly closed. He found me outside of camp. He told me it was my fault. She could barely speak. His mind was reeling, but he stayed strong for Tanglespark. It's not your fault. Why would he do that? Robinpur, they're my kids! They glanced over with bewildered eyes. That's why. They shouldn't have been born, and he's justifying their murder because they're mine. He stared out into the moonlit river. A medicine cat with kids. But they're still kids. And he drowned them? He tried putting the pieces together. There's no signs he did anything else. Her tail wrapped around her in a self-hug. But Mutsar doesn't believe me. She got upset I'd ever insult a deputy chosen by her. He'd nod, taking in the medicine cat's words. But he did it right. It makes him guilty, and StarClan will know. He tried his best to comfort the cat beside him. It doesn't matter if StarClan knows. They can't do anything until he dies. She emphasized harshly, something in her eyes flickering as she did. He's a threat until then. What are you trying to say? He turned to look at her. She shook her head. I don't know. He looked down at his paws. Dealing with a threat was simple, but the deputy? What was he supposed to do? You're a medicine cat. Surely you know a way to poison him? His voice was low, and his eyes flicked around to ensure no one else was hearing him. Her eyes were fixed on her reflection. She hardly reacted until she realized the implication. She replied in a way that seemed like she'd already considered it. They'd know it was me. But if it seemed like you drowned... He paused as he thought. Maybe they wouldn't suspect a thing. Her pupils narrowed as her eyes widened. She didn't verbally reply, but her lack of denial was clear. I'm by your side, Tanglespark. He reassured them. He won't get away with this. Tanglespark stayed completely still, aside from her shallow breath. Come with me in case this goes bad. Little sympathy was left in her tone. He waited anxiously, watching the den entrance for stray cats. She grabbed juniper from the stalk, a non-poisoner, but one with purpose. She lapped it into her maw, not biting it, and walking out. She intentionally walked past Chromask with a glare to see if he'd follow. She sat, and air was still thin as she waited. He'd follow them, no doubt. He sat still, tail wrapped around his paws as he waited. This was for the kids. For Tanglespark. She looked at Robin Purr and pointed to the nearby bush for them to hide. Now it was a waiting game.
Cromask approached, his pace lax. He knew he had all the time in the world. He spotted the medicine cat by the river and simply padded right up to her. Confessing your sins to StarClan? He taunted.
I didn't abandon them, she stated simply. I wanted them to be found, to be taken to RiverClan, to be safe, so I could watch them grow up and no cat would judge them for their heritage. They were supposed to come home.
There was no home for them, he scoffed. You ruined that by breaking the code.
At no fault of their own, Tanglespark hissed. If you wanted to punish me, you should have killed me when you could. It would have brought the clan less grief. A Codebreaker would die, not innocent kids.
I can still fulfill that wish, he growled. Reunite you with them in the dark forest? He snapped his teeth at her.
She stood, acting as if she was ready to pad off. If you think kids go to the dark forest simply for being born, I can only imagine what waits for you. Quickly, she turned, nailing Cromask in the shoulder blades from the side. When he hit the ground, she towered over him, nothing but fury in her eyes. She wanted to kick and scream, tear his fur from his pelt, but she just stared at him, waiting for any hint of fear or defeat.
Cromask roared in surprise, actually getting knocked over by the smaller she-cat. Filled with vigor, he grabs her pelt and rips her off of himself. You foxheart!
Robin Purr launched out of the bush, ready to help Tanglespark, throwing his weight into Cromask to topple him over. The juniper berry wedged in Tanglespark's cheek came flying out when she caught herself. She swiftly grabbed it into her paw and jammed it into Cromask's maw to scare him.
Cromask was surprised by the second attacker, and when something was wedged into his mouth, he felt such panic that he didn't manage to jump back up. The deputy was too stunned to fight back as he frantically tried to claw the berries out of his mouth, fearing they were death berries.
Tanglespark mouthed water to Robin, grabbing and pulling the large deputy's fur towards the water. Robin Purr would look to Tanglespark, a focused look in his eyes as he watched Cromask panic. Robin would take hold of Cromask's pelt, dragging him to the water.
He thrashed wildly, paws kicking up water as his head was dunked under the cold surface. He inhaled a mouthful of water, and with no more air in his lungs, he did not even manage to cough.
The fake poison worked. Cromask had panicked enough to allow the two to shove him into the stream. She stepped forward and sat on his neck to keep him from moving. For extra measures, he shoved both his paws on Cromask's body, ensuring he had no chance of survival.
Cromask made no sounds besides the pathetic splashing of his legs and tail, slowly growing weaker. However, his claws did find some pelts, slicing them open with uncoordinated strikes.
Robin stared hard at the cat beneath him. This is for the safety of the clan, he reminded himself. Tanglespark let out a hiss as fur tore away from her pelt, but she didn't let go. She couldn't let go. Where she expected justice and relief was only anger and detest. This wasn't winning. This was revenge. This was blood for blood. But her paw was forced.
Not long after, the bubbles coming from his mouth subsided, and his legs stopped moving. Cromask had gone limp in their paws.
Before she let go, she nipped her own fur from his claws with her teeth. Once the fur was rid of, she let go, and allowed him to drift away. Robin watched the body float away. She looked at Robin. The adrenaline left her eyes near instantly, and she broke down. He lay beside her, letting her process everything as he stayed quiet. All he could do was offer her comfort. She tried to tell herself she'd saved someone. Killing this cat wouldn't bring her kids back, but it kept any other cat from going through the same. At least in that was some sort of safety. You weren't injured, were you? He mumbled gently. He looked at her soaking paws and then his. They'd both have to carry this weight together. No. She nuzzled into Robin Fur thankfully. Her sobs were mixed with the rain in his already soaked fur.